By the end of this video, you'll be better equipped to get a better night's sleep and to have the tools to know what to do so that you can actually sleep well, to sleep quickly. And essentially, I'm facilitating that. I'm sharing with you what works for me, but it's down to you to experiment and try what works for you. And you can listen to my points, but if you don't actually take any action and do anything to try and change your sleeping habits, then you're going to continue with the same problem. So this will work, or some of this will work for you if you bother to do something about it. I'm Natasha from Travel and Tash, and today we're talking about how to get a better night's sleep, how to sleep more quickly and how to sleep more easily. And we're going to start off with hack number one. Now, hack number one is that, first of all, your bed space is almost like a holy place. It's a place where you go to sleep and to have sex, and that is it. If you hang out on your bed, you're using your laptop, you're doing this and that, and you read in your bed, you're going to mentally associate your bed with doing activities, and so psychologically that's going to put you into a place whereby a lot of action goes on around your bed space. And so what I actually try to do is I make sure that my bed space is reserved only, mostly for sleeping, and and if there's some sexy fun going on there, then that's fantastic. But when I do activities like reading, I read in a chair. When I eat out. Because I'm living in a Korean style apartment right now, which is a bachelor pad. I'll have a designated area to eat. So avoid doing other stuff that isn't meant to be done in bed, like watching TV, like reading books, like looking on your laptop and things like that. Do that elsewhere in your room or in your home. Hack number two, have a routine. Establish a routine. Like, for example, I tend to be a very light sleeper, and so what I find works for me is usually what tends to be dictated mostly by my job. Now, because I work largely in the afternoons and evenings, I tend to go to bed around 1 p.m. and I tend to wake up around 9 a.m. And so my routine is that I'm winding down around midnight, and by 1 p.m. I hope to actually be in bed. And having that same routine, even trying to do that on the weekends, works really, really well for me, because my body is just in that pattern of, this is my sleep time, this is my wake up time, this is my sleep time, this is my wake up time. And for me, I find routine is key to actually getting your body clock to adjust to a time that you designate, or that your work may designate, as being the time that you regularly sleep and wake up. Now, hack number three, avoid sugar about 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. Sometimes, I might be working on my business or whatever, and I'm doing stuff on the laptop and I'm like craving a bit of chocolate. And the thing is that what I do is that if it's about an hour before sleep time, I actually won't have it. And it's because I know that sugar, in my case, definitely keeps me alert. I remember on one occasion, I was awake until I think 2 o'clock in the morning, or even 3, because I think I'd had quite a few pieces of chocolate, just before bedtime. And I know that sugar definitely affects me directly. It gives, we've heard of that like sugar surge or that sugar high, and that, that definitely is the case. And for me, the same thing is, it works for coffee, is that I can't have coffee beyond 6 p.m. If I go to bed at 1 p.m, I will not have a coffee after 6 p.m. at night, because I know that in my personal case, coffee keeps me awake. So avoid sugar. And if you're sensitive to coffee like me, or caffeine, even tea, try not to have it too late in the evening. And for me, my cutoff time is, no later than 6. On Saturdays, it may drag on till 7 p.m., but that's an exception. Okay, so hack number 4. Eat about 2 to 3 hours prior to sleep time. Now, what I'm saying is this is the maximum time to eat before bed. Now, I'm very well aware that if you eat later, if you eat about 3 hours before bed, that gives your digestion enough time, your blood that's circulating in your stomach to digest all your food. The thing is that if you go to bed within that 3 hours, your blood is still digesting, your stomach is still focusing a lot of that energy on breaking down your food. And so if you go to sleep within that time, the problem is that your energy is you're still focusing, your body is still focusing on the digestion. Now, while I think that it's important to not eat too early before going to bed, because you don't want your sleep time to your body to, rather than be renewing and regenerating, all of the, essentially, sleep serves for several functions, and some of you may have seen videos on sleep, and not only does it help our nervous system, but it also helps balance the chemicals in our brain. Now, the problem with eating too close to going to bed is that your digestion is diverting attention away from sleep to actually digesting. Now, my boyfriend, he's into bodybuilding, and he said to me, well, the problem with this is that he may get really hungry. He may still, if he eats 3 hours before bed, he might be hungry just before sleep time. And if he's hungry before going to sleep, he can't sleep. He needs to eat before going to bed. And so that's why I'm saying that perhaps if you eat 2 hours before going to bed, that could work for you. But just don't push it too close to your actual sleep time, and perhaps don't eat a heavy meal before you actually go to bed. If you're gonna maybe have a light snack or something before sleep time, then that would probably work well. Number 5. Now this might be a difficult one, and it's avoid blue light about half an hour before you go to sleep. Now I'm really guilty of this, and I'm really trying to change my habits because I know that this is working. Now, blue light, or essentially looking at a phone, looking at a tablet or a computer, actually functions in a very similar way to sunshine. It sends signals to your brain saying, wake up, it's morning, it's time to get going, let's get going. Now, if you're busy looking at your phone just before you're about to go into bed, okay, your brain and your eyes have just received information saying, hey, it's time to get going, it's time to wake up. So what I do is I try to stop about half an hour before I know I'm going to be in bed. I try to have a cut-off time for when I need to no longer be messaging on my phone, or no longer be on Facebook or social media of any kind. Definitely no internet working on my business. So have a particular cut-off time, and make that at least a minimum of half an hour before you intend to be in bed and asleep. So for me, that's usually around 12:30. Now, I'm guilty of still, communicating with my boyfriend and messaging and so on, quite late into the night. But my best night's sleep are usually when I leave at least half an hour between, switching off my phone. And by the way, I'm just going to point out that if you get alerts on your phone, like ding, like every time you get a message, how are you gonna switch off? Like you need to put first of all, your phone or your tablet away from your bed. You need to put it on silent, or you need to put it on airplane mode, or whatever the case is. But have your phone away from your bed, and don't have your message alerts on, notifying you for every tiny little thing that comes in. If people are busy messaging you at 12 o'clock at night, I'm going to imagine that well, hopefully it's not going to be an emergency, and you should have switched off and zoned away from that external stimulus for the day at that point. So that is this particular point, minimizing your blue light, your exposure to blue light, so that your brain can actually start to slow down in the same way that natural humans, that when we went to sleep at night time and we woke up at dawn when the sunshine came in. It's kind of simulating that paleo kind of lifestyle, which is presumably a much healthier way to actually live. Now, hack number 6, I like to write in a journal about my day, or about things that are playing in my mind. So what I'll do is I'll get out my diary, and I'll sometimes put a candle on, I'll put incense on, and what I'll do is I'll journal. I'll write down, sometimes I'll write down a diary entry, or I'll write down things that are on my mind, things that I want to improve. And it's like a reflection on my day. And sometimes it becomes more profound than that. Sometimes it's a reflection on my life. It's a reflection on what it is that I'm doing and where it is that I'm going. And it helps develop my self-awareness. And for me, this is a really, really enjoyable part of my evening, and it's a chance for me to really think about things that I'm grateful for as well. Next, read a novel. I find that if I read, like most recently, I was reading, I'm not going to grab it right now, but it's a novel that I have up here on the shelf, and it's by a woman called Ahern, and it's just like a love novel. It's a love romance, and I find that when I read something that's not stimulating, that's light, easy reading, or a biography, those work best, because if you're there like for 20 minutes, maybe even half an hour before sleep time, it helps to just put my mind into a particular relaxation mode. And usually I try to do that around 12:30, so about half an hour before I intend to be in bed. And if you haven't tried reading before bed, try it, because this might be the secret golden nugget to getting to sleep really quickly. Last but not least, this is something I've tried recently, and that is that sometimes when you're lying in bed and you're just like, oh my god, my mind just won't stop thinking about this, it won't stop thinking about that, like something's happened in your day, or something really important is happening in your life, and you just like keep churning it over and over again. Well, what I've begun doing is I've begun actually thinking about the things that I feel grateful for in my life, and things that I'm grateful for my day. And when I have started doing this, it's wonderful, because you go to bed really, really empowered and feeling really grateful. And funnily enough, in my case, like it's just been switching me out like a light. So I'm thinking, I'm so grateful for the home that I live in. I'm so grateful for, this person that I have in my life, or that person that I have in my life. And I'm so grateful for, for something they did that affected how I felt that day. And as I'm thinking about all of these things, I just fall asleep. And incredibly, like when I wake up and for some reason I'm thinking again on this topic, like things I'm grateful for. What am I grateful for? And I wake up in bed and I'm like, Okay, so what am I grateful for? And it puts me into a really positive frame of mind. Anyway, so these are my top 8 tips to get better sleep. And what I'm going to suggest is that, you know, I mean, this is what works for me. It may not work for you, but I'm sure that there's at least 1 or 2 things that I've mentioned that can work for you if you try it. So what I suggest is take 1 or 2 points from what I've mentioned here that you think potentially could serve you, and just try to incorporate that, and and then begin to reflect as well. Be self-aware about whether this is actually beginning to affect your sleep cycle or not. And if not, switch up, try something new, or try a combination of different things. Anyway, so those are my 8 hacks to getting a better night's sleep and to falling asleep quickly. I hope that you got some value from that. If you like my content, hit my subscribe button and the bell to get notifications for when I publish a video. I'm going to leave some links to my social media below so that you can find me on travelandtash.com. I'm also on Travel and Tash on Facebook, and also to find my recent publication on relationships. My book is currently out on Amazon, How to Attract a Fulfilling Relationship. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.